Hi, good morning.
Hi,
Morning,
good
Adebola.
morning. Yes, good morning, and thank you for joining us today.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for having
Mm.
me. Am I loud
Yes,
enough?
huh?
Am I audible enough?
From my end, yes. But please confirm if you can hear him.
Great.
Everyone,
My
please note
end,
that.
yes.
Yes, I can hear
Yes,
you.
ma'am. I can hear him loud and clear.
All
Great.
right, thank you. Please note that this call is being recorded.
All right.
Yes, please go on.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Uh, like she already said, my name is Bowale Majakodumi, and I'm a master's student at University of Leipzig. I'm focused on small businesses, on like regular programs that are like into big corporations. And it pleased me most to work with small businesses to help them optimize product and their services. So I think I would like to start with also like getting to know everyone that is here, maybe a brief introduction, your name and your what your business is about, just in like a sentence or two.
Hello. Good morning, Mr. Sorry, what's your name again, please?
You can call me Boali, please.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Bowale. Uh, good morning to every other person listening to me. My name is Akpanke Joseph Adashi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, please. So what's your business about in like one sentence?
Hello. My name is Akpanke Joseph Adashi.
What does your business do? So it sort of helps me
Okay.
to be able to relate what I'm going to share with you with our businesses. So it can be more relatable, aside just giving like a general information.
Okay. Okay. My business is we recycle waste products such as discarded tires to make eco-friendly footwears. Then we
Ah,
also use spoiled fruit, like fibers from like plantain and other shrubs to make we are still a research anyway in progress to design
mhm.
a biodegradable leather so that once the person is done, the person can discard it and it will disintegrate without contaminating the environment.
Great, great. Thank you. That's very interesting. Okay, I see Augusta. Africa, Medica. I don't see the last word.
Hello, good morning.
Good
So
morning.
I'm Augusta Okafor. I'm the founder of Africa Medical Marketplace. We're an e-commerce platform transforming the way medical supplies, sales of medical equipment and consumables are done across 54 countries in Africa, leveraging on digital technology. And part of the things we do is also supported by medical engineers and creating sustainable donation programs around that
Mm.
to make sure that the afterlife recycling of those medical equipment are sustained are prolonged more or less.
Mm.
Thank you.
Great. So in one word, you could say you are into logistics for medical service
No, in a
products.
simplified form, we are an e-commerce platform facilitating global Africa medical trade.
Mhm. Okay, interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Rehoboth,
Good morning, sir.
good morning. Pleased to have you here.
Good to have you here, sir. All right, Railweb's Clean Technologies is a startup that deals with the sales of solar materials and also installations of these solar systems. We do microgrid installation, mini grid installation, and we focus on also stand-alone home installations in undeserved and marginalized communities in Nigeria.
So installation in rural communities or remote communities. Thank you
Yes,
very
sir.
much. Adebola, I don't know how many people are on the call. Do you think I could do this with everyone?
So I think you can just share it on the chat because we have 3 numbers on the call now, and that's going to take like a lot of time from us.
Great. I think I'm just going to stop here then. Kindly share in the chat box, like she already mentioned, and I can work with like the 3 people that I have here, just at some point or the other get into their business and see what we can have. Without much ado, I'm going to go into my presentation. Adebola, please, how long do I have?
You have 1 hour, 30 minutes.
Great. Good for me.
Hello. I'm not
Sorry,
here.
please give me a minute. I'm trying to share my screen here.
If you're unable to share your screen, you can share your presentation with me and I can share it from here.
My presentation is online.
Okay. So everyone, please kindly give us a minute. He's trying to share a screen and he will join us back as soon as possible.
Excuse me, can I make a suggestion?
Yes, please go ahead.
Please, while he's trying to share his screen, can other people at least introduce themselves so that this we get to know?
Okay, if you can do that then. We can do that. Please go ahead. So if you haven't introduced yourself, kindly go ahead and tell us your name and what you do in your business.
Okay, good morning. My name is Obo Joseph, CEO.
Bola's planes, please hold on.
Hello. Good morning, all.
Yes, please go ahead.
My name is Obo Joseph, CEO Jet Delivered Foundry.
Okay, everyone. My name is Obobolaji. My name is Obobolaji.
Hello, everyone. Okay, please, everybody, kindly mute your mic.
Thank you. Sorry, I had to complete my setup. Adebola, could you kindly make me the host again?
Okay.
Thank you.
I just did.
Thank you. Can you see my screen now, please?
Yes, sir, we can. I can.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Hi, Bawali. Now we can see your screen.
Great. Sorry for the delay. I think we have it now and everyone is good. So good morning once again. My name is Bawale, and so we're just going to dive right into the session. Yeah, we're going to have like 4 sessions. The first is going to be, we're going to be talking about environmental sustainability, just for us to like have a good premise on which we are having all of this conversation. And then we talk about sustainable business practices, and then environmental impact assessment. And finally, we're going to have a workshop on how to leverage your business for environmental sustainability. Okay, so environmental sustainability, what words or concepts or processes comes to your mind right now? Just put in the chat box. I want to know, yeah, how far we have on an understanding of what we're talking about. Just words or concepts, or whatever comes to mind. Ah, great. So I see how our business affect the environment in a positive way. Uh, don't harm the world while doing business. That's very interesting. Uh, those are the ones I see so far. Is anybody typing anything? Practices and processes that minimize environmental harm, conserve resources, and promote eco-friendly development for a healthier planet, from Joseph. You can just put one word, just one word. Okay, yeah. Don't harm the environment, or a sentence or a phrase. Activities that positively impact our environment. Interesting. From Paulette. Yeah, thank you very much. I think we have enough understanding of what we want to talk about. So I don't really need to go into all of the details. We're just going to be very practical. Safeguarding the environment despite doing business. Very interesting. Apt. Using environment resources the right way, from Clodox Limited. Great, 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 great. Okay, so it's like a big elephant in the room. So I wanted to be sure, okay, where are you touching? Are you touching it from the tail or from the tusk or from wherever? So I think we were on the same page. So sustainability, I would like to take it from the root word. We're talking about now environmental sustainability, but there is the root word sustainability. And it sounds like it's new, it seems to be at the center of everything now. Yeah. Before you go through any website or a business proposal, you're already seeing sustainability this, sustainability that. And it's like, oh wow, this is a new thing. And you ask young people what they want to study now, they just find a way of connecting it back to, sustainability. And I think it's very interesting. But then it's not very new. Relatively, we see it like 18th century, as far back as that, in German forestry literature. So it actually originated from forestry, forestry, the cultivation and harvesting of trees and all of the other practices that are around that. Uh, it's seen as Nachhaltigkeit. That's like the German word for sustainability. And the idea is the principle of sustained yield. So you're sustaining a yield. So if you say you have 5 trees in a forest, and maybe two of them are still young, I want to take some trees out of the forest for use, it means you can only take two mature trees. Then because we only have two young trees also. So, and then when you remove the old trees, you have to replace them with newer trees. So in any case, you have like the same number, maybe not as old as the ones you're removing, but in a sense, you're trying to maintain the yield, you are sustaining the yield, because if you take like maybe four trees away and you're left with one mature tree, and then maybe you just replace four young trees, then you're going to wait for a longer time to have something that you could remove from the forest again. I just hope you understand. So in that sense, it's just maintaining that sustained yield there. And yeah, so, and that's as far back as the 18th century. When the most recent, and maybe something that brought the whole world together on environmental sustainability, or let me just say sustainable development, is the United Nations, when they had like their conference on the environment. You call it like United Nations World Commission on Environment and Development Report, that was led by Brundtland. So they gave that definition of sustainability as one that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own need. So like some of you already said, we sort of do business or live in a way that, it doesn't destroy the environment, basically. So now, sustainability in business. So I started with this, the idea of land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. Do we remember this? Do you remember this? Where do you remember it from? What did you talk about when you try to put land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur in your brain? Just one word or two. Okay, yeah, this is where you remember it, or under what topic? I'm waiting, I'm waiting. We're going to interact a lot, so just stick to your keypad. Land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. Legal documents? I'm not sure. I mean, it's advanced. Economics, take it as far back as primary school. Business studies, yes.
Was it a
Business
question? Please
studies.
repeat the question again. Let me be clear.
The question. So, when did you first encounter the old combination of land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur? Civil studies.
I think it's business study or social studies, either of those two.
Yeah, business study, social study, and the topic I think is like, factors of production. So, and then you just write, land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. So I think that's also like still the basis of business, basically. So for any business, you need the land, you need the labor, you need the capital, you need the entrepreneur. And it is this idea that also sustainability is built on. So usually we say we have three pillars of sustainability: the economic, the social, and environment. So, I mean, we know all of these. I just really want to refresh all of the idea in our head. So the capital there is the money, and that's where you have economic sustainability, the whole idea of profit and loss. So if you start a business or make a product for 20 naira, it means you have to sell it more than 20 naira to make profit. Again, the idea of sustained yield. When you come to labor, that is the people you employ to work, you take care of them, you give them salaries, you give them bonuses, you give them holidays, you make them feel good so they can work for you very well. Again, the principle of what? Sustained yield. But when it comes to the environment, we really don't, consider it a lot. We don't care. We feel, you have to spend a lot of money, you have to spend a lot of time. But the interesting thing about these factors is that capital reacts very fast. So when you make loss, your business knows it on time. Even you as an entrepreneur, you are touched on time. When your social sustainability thinking, when it suffers, maybe your employees do not come to work or they are not as committed, you also feel it. But when the environment suffers, you don't feel it instantly because the environment is not as fast to react. And yeah, so I mean, it is what it is. So, but that's the interesting thing. It's not as fast. when he reacts because he doesn't feel, and actually he feels, but he doesn't feel on time, he doesn't talk on time, so figure the environment will take care of itself. Okay. Now, why is environmental sustainability on the front burner now? Well, we all face extreme weather conditions, all continents of the world, every part of the world. You talk about wildfires in America, that's in North America, in South America, wildfires. You have heat waves in Asia. They are recording like their highest amount of temperature. I mean, I'm not in Lagos, but I see tweets and I see people's posts like, oh, it's so hot, this, that. I mean, I think we're also like eating 35 degrees, and that's very, very hot, you know. Even some parts of Europe, they're eating as high as 40 degrees during the day, and then some of them just have to travel away to another part of Europe that is not as warm. So we also have critical ecological and social issues, water crisis, food insecurity, because when there is shift in weather conditions, you don't have enough rain, or you have too much rain, then the farming suffers and you don't have enough food. And these are social issues. So I'm on my third point now. I think I'd just like to quote my slide. It says our daily lives are already experiencing the impact of Abuja is eating 39. Wow. Wow. Okay, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Our daily lives are already experiencing the impacts of global warming. And the interesting thing is that even if we try to limit emissions right now, we're still going to feel the impact for a while, you know? I mean, these reports that I have here, I mean, we've been talking about global warming for like ever now, for say since the 80s, and then it's now we are really feeling the impact, and then we are trying to already keep the emissions as low as possible. And this is going to continue for a while. So it means collaboration is essential, and everybody has, you know, to be in on this. And why should we care as businesses? Well, the environment has a determinant role in sustainable development. We just talked about land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. So you guys are the entrepreneur. You've decided to do the hardest jobs in the world. Thank you very much of managing people and money and process and not, I know, putting your own life at the back seat. We celebrate you. So you guys are the entrepreneurs. You hire labor. You need to source for capital, but everything sort of comes from the environment. The people you hire, they get their food from the environment. Your businesses exist on the environment. Yeah. I can take your flowers. They also breathe in oxygen from the environment. So everything sort of depends on the environment. And then second reason why we should care as businesses, because 90% of worldwide businesses are small. No, forget Shell, forget all these big companies, Amazon and Google. You guys are the best. You guys rock. You guys all together amount to 90% of world businesses. And then, thanks to you again, you guys contribute to more than 70% of environmental pollution, you know, from that your generator to you trying to deliver from Lagos to Kano with the transport system. Yeah, that is it, you know. So, so that is why we should care as businesses. So if all businesses can try to be sustainable at the very least, it means we can also clear up to 70% of world did I say population? Pollution. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, I'm here again. What do you think? Which is the most important factor of production? Is it the land? Is it the labor? Is it the capital? Is it the entrepreneur? I'm waiting. So which of them is the most important? Land, labor, capital. All of them are important. Okay.
So I feel in this age in time, I feel entrepreneur will be the most important, because there are some businesses that don't require land, and there are some businesses that don't even require capital. Like most businesses that deals with all this middleman. Okay, you have a product to sell, I have a buyer, I link the two of you up, you give me commission. That's the business. It doesn't require land, it doesn't require capital. Though it may require labor.
I could easily tell you the capital.
Huh?
I could easily tell the capital. Capital doesn't have to be money at times. Capital is also in front of goodwill, like, oh, this person, I trust them with my life and stuff. That's also part of capital. It's social capital. There's capital, but I agree with you, entrepreneur is the most important because he has to manage the land. That is why we are here. We as entrepreneurs, we are talking about the environment. We manage the environment, we manage the capital, and capital doesn't necessarily have to be money. It's all your assets. An asset could be physical, it could be your mental prowess, it could be your qualification. All of those things are part of capital.
So please,
So
we're
thank
still
you.
on your first slide. I don't know if you've been sharing. We're still on the first one, all the while you've been talking.
Wow, I have been sharing. How about now?
Yes, we can see now.
So what do you see now, please?
All the slides.
Not clear. It's not clear.
A background or Foundry and
Having
environmental
trees,
sustainability.
that's my own page. Okay, I'm gonna fix it now.
Okay, so all right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we can see it now, but it's not on presentation mode.
Okay. It's still on presentation mode now. Is it up now?
On the first page, sir.
Where are we now, please?
Environmental
On the first page.
Wow.
Okay, we're on what do you think, which is most
What do you
important.
think?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's where we are now.
Yes.
I'm going to try to move it backwards and see if it works just fine. Why should we care as businesses? Do you see that now?
No, sir. Still at what do you think? Okay, yes. Why should we? Yes, better. No. Bring it forward. Clara, yes. Okay. No. We are going.
Thank you very much. All right. So that's the end of the first session. Now we're on the second session. We're going to discuss sustainable business practices. But before I move there, I think I'd like to take maybe one or two questions. If there's anything you've want to ask about environmental sustainability, just understanding the basics. If there is none, I'm just going to move on then. So sustainable business practices. So here we're going to first discuss key strategies of sustainable business practices and how it affects us. This idea is based on the fact that new resources and skills is the challenges they face from natural environment. I mean, I'm talking about businesses now. So businesses are going to have to develop new resources and develop new skills because of the problems they face with the environment. So based on these, there are three strategies to do that. It's pollution prevention, product stewardship, and then sustainable development. On pollution prevention, the idea is just to control and prevent. The idea of reuse. Basically, when you talk about reuse, recycle, and reduce, All of these are under pollution prevention. So, for instance, Mr. Ackman, his company or his business is into recycling. Now, this by itself is a business, but you can have other businesses. I mean, like Africa Med, their business or model is not exactly recycling, but I think the way she explained it, it has some aspect of recycling inside it. And then the advantages of this is that you innovate through continuous process and products, and also your services. And it also helps to lower your cost. And I put an example that we all could relate to, that's the Nest. So the Nest could work with all kinds of startups and ensure their emissions are minimal as possible. I think this is only going to make sense when I compare it with the second one. So I'm just going to recap. Pollution prevention, the idea is to reduce, it could be it could be in products or in process, to reduce, to reuse, and to recycle. We're going to talk more about all of this, but just have it that, okay, one strategy of sustainable business practice is pollution prevention, where you're trying to reduce or to reuse or to recycle. The second aspect is product stewardship. In product stewardship, you are being intentional about considering the environment. So, for instance, the Nest could choose to only support green businesses. It means they are going to be leaving some money on the table because they could also choose to support businesses that are not exactly environmentally friendly. So they are keeping their stewards to the environment. It's almost like, I mean, the idea of being a steward, being a servant. So, okay, we choose to be a servant of the environment. So, for instance, maybe Shell as a company cannot claim, in quote, product stewardship because what they do directly affects the environment. For Mr. Ackman's business can be a business that is born out of product stewardship because their business model is just recycling. So, I mean, some part of the process is going to be something that affects the environment, but when you do like the net effect, that is, okay, what I contribute versus what I maybe, the impact I create, I contribute more than I affect the environment. That is the idea of net. So here you are just intentional about the product, the value chain, basically. And what it helps you to do is market differentiation. It sets you apart from other people. So if the Nest decides to support only green businesses, it means maybe some of the businesses that they are supporting now are not going to be with them. Because they say, oh, if you're not green, we are not supporting you, sort of. And then that's just like the idea of product stewardship. The last part is strategic sustainable development. And here you are just intentional about substantial investment. It's very expensive. This whole idea of sustainable development, it is expensive because you are building towards the future. And the example that I've put here is if the Nest, as an innovation hub, decides to power all of the things they do with solar panels and do away from fossil fuel. This is a strategic development towards the future. And the advantage is that it's for future positioning. So I hope you can sort of relate these three examples about the Nest into what these three strategies are. So the first is pollution prevention. It means the Nest could only choose, they support all businesses, but they try to help you to minimize your emissions. It also means that the Nest could choose to not use paper and, and maybe just paper, and then everything they do is just online, or they just use electronic documents, that's e-documents or software documents. So that helps to reduce their waste and a whole lot of other, activities that go on there. They could also choose to maybe turn off or switch off their appliances when not in use. So these are subtle ways or small ways, easy ways of acting towards the environment. So now I have another question here. So do you think a startup can integrate environmental sustainability without incurring additional cost? So that's usually the question. How environmental sustainability is very expensive and you have to spend a lot of money. But what do you think? I mean, from this explanation so far, and if you have any question, you could just present it now. But do you think a startup can integrate environmental sustainability without incurring additional cost? I have a lot of hands up. I'm going to start with Rehoboth.
Thank you, sir. So based on your questions, I believe a startup can actually, focus on sustainability without considering the cost. Because, for example, let's take clean energy as an example. When you invest into clean energy, at first it may cost you, but if you look at it, basically it saves you from the cost of fossil fuel. And most times when there is no electricity from NEPA or the rest, you actually can rely on that clean energy. So I feel startup can, focus on sustainability and still have more profits in the long run.
In the long run. Thank you very much. So I believe that goes to like the third category. So it's expensive at first, but at the long run, it is very profitable. Mr. Akman.
Okay, good day, sir. Good day, everyone, once again. My name is Akpanke, not Akpan.
Akpanke, okay. Sorry, please.
Okay, understood, sir. Understood. Well, there are some businesses that when you incorporate environmental sustainability, it might even be cheaper. For instance, the reason why I niche on using discarded tires to make the soles of my footwear is because it's far cheaper compared to the ones made from factory. Now, if I get a roll of discarded tire, I get one roll for like 1,000 naira. Now, after processing it, I might spend like 500 naira. And one roll will give me roughly between 3 pairs to 5 pairs, depending on the sizes I'm cutting. The bigger size, the lower the number, the smaller size, the higher the number will get. So, but anyway, on average, it lies between 3 pairs to 5 pairs. Now, if I have to take a total cost, that's like 500 naira per pair. But if I'm buying that same sole from the market, I'm buying one for like about 1,000 naira. If it's already made sole, I'm buying it for like 2,500. So if I'm to buy 3, that would be about 7,500. So the process of incorporating environmental sustainability into my business has even lowered the cost of my production of materials and production, which also influence the price of my product, which makes it more affordable.
That's interesting. Thanks for sharing your story. So that goes to like the second category. So where we talk about product stewardship. So you've decided not to use like the new products from the factory and you're going for like tires. And then people could start to question you, no, we want new things. Why are you using tires and stuff? You have an explanation. It's for the environment. And then it lowers your cost and also differentiates you and also puts you in a better position when you talk of, grants or opportunities that come in the future. It's inevitable somehow. This is the direction we are moving towards. We have to be sustainable as a people, as a nation, as humanity. We cannot not do it, So you just have to prepare yourself for the future. And I think it's very understandable. And we're just going to move on. Okay, so I would like to say one more thing about the first strategy, that's pollution prevention. The thing about pollution prevention is there is so much you can do at some point. So because when you keep, reusing, reducing, recycling, or you keep sort of optimizing your process or your product, you get to a point where you no longer can optimize. I mean, law of diminishing returns sets in. So you've tried to manage your time, you've tried to manage resources. There is a point where it's almost like one tire. You cannot make 20 shoes from one tire. So it's just the number. When you manage it to an extent, you get to the end. So at that point, you have to change your approach. So it's not going to be about the first strategy again of pollution prevention. It's going to be about product stewardship, changing your approach totally, doing away from maybe tire and looking for something else. And when you get to a point, it's going to be about maybe investing in a bigger technology. I hope you understand that, but it's more practical than just talking theories. Okay.
So please, I have a question. My hands have been up even before your question came up.
I'm so sorry. Paulette?
Yes.
Yes, please.
I'm trying to figure out where my business, what category my business fall into. We're into the production of reusable measurer pad, eco-friendly, compared to the one-time use pad, which is plastics that is being dumped into the environment. But the reusable measurer pad lasts for like 2-3 years and is biodegradable. So I'm trying to figure out what category will I place my business in this?
Okay, so these strategies we just said, they are strategies. They are not exactly like categories. So your business does not go into one of them. Your business would operate across the 3 strategies. In fact, you could do those 3 strategies all at the same time. Pollution prevention could be maybe where you produce these parts, you switch off appliances or the bulb when you're not using them. You collect waste intentionally, you segregate waste. So paper goes into one place, plastic goes into another place, bio waste, maybe like food, go into another place. So you can try to give paper, it's not a thing in Nigeria, it's a thing where you don't collect waste together, you have to separate them. You have to, like, it's an obligation, So you just don't dump everything in one place. So the people that come to collect your waste, they can take paper, take it directly to where they recycle it. Easy. Take plastic, take bottle. So you also could do that. My last project, I worked with a hub, and they really didn't know about this. Then as soon as we were done with the project, they were separating plastic from everything, and they were selling their plastic, and they could halve the amount they pay on Tuloma, by 50%. That was how they just like saved cost there. You can imagine saving 50% over a year. It's some good money. It could be somebody else's salary easily, or one of their employees. So your business doesn't necessarily go into one category. You could function across the 3. So the second part, maybe you're already doing product stewardship, so you are not producing the regular part. You are being intentional about the environment. The third part is like, okay, now you are doing this part, but maybe you are not producing enough. Then you need to look for some sort of new technology. Or maybe you are using fossil fuel. Now you want to invest in solar grid. So that is like the third strategy. So they are not categories that you fall under one. It's like strategies that you could use all at the same time. It's going to become, more understandable as you go.
Thank you, sir.
Pleasure. Augusta, your hand is up.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know my hand was raised up, but since I'm already here. Okay, so when you were asking about the recycling, so part of the things we do as a startup or as an enterprise coming up, we are very heavy on recycling because we're environmental conscious. This is where you see refurbished equipment. People are allowed to sell refurbished open box. So with that, they go back into the society. People are allowed, part of the things we're integrating on our platform, people are allowed to rent, hospitals are allowed to rent hospital equipment. So with that, you're saving costs and not making you're not just buying something you need for one time and leaving the machines to melt away. Then part of the things we are doing, like currently, that was 2 days ago, we are speaking with our partner from Benin Republic, and they were telling us about some equipment that their hospital have used and they're no longer using it. So when you come to our platform, we have a part we call Donate Medical Equipment. This is where hospitals at the advanced level who have limited timeline to use their machines, instead of just discarding them under the rain and sun.
They can move them to
areas need
hospitals
those
that are just developing.
Yeah, so you just list them on those platforms and people indicate interest. There, whatever they collect is free of charge. So it's part of the recycling. They just pay for the logistics to pick
For the
it from A.
logistics.
Yeah. Then when you talk of e-commerce, you are talking of logistics integration. So part of the people we are collaborating with are very big on carbon emission. So there are days you can't just move to reduce the level of carbon emission that is released in the atmosphere and stuff like that. So
Great. Good to know. Thank you very much. Now we'll touch briefly on environmental impact assessment. And basically, it's just the idea of measuring and managing your emission or your waste or your emollients. Okay, there I go again. So for the sake of this session, the reason why you measure and manage your waste or your pollution or your emission is because of the environment. And the other reasons that surround that are legal and regulatory compliance, like the Environmental Impact Assessment Act of 1992 in Nigeria. It mandates EIAs for major projects. It helps with informed decision making. So information about the potential environmental consequences of a proposed project, allowing for more informed choosing. That's a proposed project, not a project that already started or they already paid for, or you are now doing assessment after you already did the project. It's something you do before the project even starts, right? And your stakeholder engagement. So it involves public consultation. So you talk with the locals. So if say you want to build a road through a particular area, you talk with the locals. You're considering the trees you're going to remove, how it's going to affect them. Maybe there's some university or some university teaching hospital that is experimenting using some plants in that area, and then you're just going to destroy it. So you need to consult with locals, also biodiversity protection. So because, I think I would like you to try to think wider beyond what we're talking about. Because about the environment, we've been talking about land, and maybe you're just limiting it to land. When you talk about the environment, it's about everything on land and in the air and beneath the land, and that's like the whole ecosystem, all of it. So it's not just about land, it's also the things that are on the land and everything. So your biodiversity protection is also part of why we do environmental impact assessment. There are tools for that. Some of them are very easy to use and others are not so easy to use. Simple tools, I've sort of put some of them here. And if you notice, my presentation is referenced. So if you would like to read more, you already decided to do the hardest job by being an entrepreneur. So you can as well, take it a bit further. And that's what also sort of separates you and what helps you. What you're doing is a battle of knowledge, what you know. And so it means, you can also take some time to check out these papers. At the end of the presentation, you have like the list of references, like we just pick those papers up, people learn about some tools. It could also help you with your own business because there is so much you can actually do here. We're just talking about the basics. So for instance, the strategies we discussed, like previously, we would take forever talking about that. So that was just like, a sort of an introduction to just have an understanding. So simple tools, you have checklists. It's just like a list, like with text, with boxes for you to check when you are considering a project or a business. So you're considering maybe energy use, waste generation, water use. Basically, depends on what that business or project is about, right? So yeah, we'll come to that soon enough. So you have matrices, you have SWOT analysis, you have flowcharts, you have basic GIS, that's Geographic Information System. You have carbon print calculator. So you're considering, okay, how much of carbon do we emit, especially for those that are maybe into logistics or that use fossil fuel and other things. So the tool you decide to employ depends on the project you're trying to measure. Mohammed, your hand is up, but I'm going to come to you after this session if that is okay. And then the not so simple tools, you have life cycle assessment. The not so simple tools are not so simple because you might have to use maybe some software application that you might have to learn how to use, or how to, it means you also need to collect data somehow, quantitative data or qualitative data that you need to import into the software then to analyze and make your informed decisions. You have cost benefit analysis. You have ecological risk assessment. There is the advanced GIS ecosystem services evaluation. So I'm going to share this with Adebola, and then she's going to share with you so you can have access to all of these things and choose to read more on them. I've also added like the references to all of them. Okay, so we're going to do this mini exercise. If you have a website, I'm just going to take one person. So if you have a website, I mean your business. So maybe you can just put this in the chat now. And then, don't put it in the chat. We don't have like a lot of time left. I need us to do something very important. So you can go to www.websitecarbon.com. So when you are there, so it's a simple website carbon calculator. If you do not know, websites do not exist for nothing. I don't know who exactly was sharing that. Yeah, some businesses do not exactly need capital, or they don't need a physical location. So it doesn't mean they are not exactly contributing nothing to the environment, like they're not impacting the environment. For instance, a business that maybe all they have is an application and a website, they somehow contribute to what we're talking about, because websites are not just there. You need the server, and the server are not just also in the cloud. They are domiciled somewhere. You have like the server house where it has to be powered. The power is not coming from nothing. So if you try to trace it, you're going to get back to the environment. So that you don't have a physical store or directly in contact with the physical environment doesn't mean you do not impact the environment. So yeah. So you can check how much you contribute to the environment through using this website to see your carbon print. Okay, Mohammed Sanusi, your question, please. Okay, Mohammed is not here now, right? So does anybody have anything from the website carbon calculator?
Hi, I'm here. Mohammed is here. I was trying.
So yeah, your hand is raised.
Yes. I actually wanted to get clarification. Anyway, my name is Mohammed, and I manage a business called Upward Eco Limited. We are doing our best in Abuja to focus on waste management, specifically on recovery from households and businesses. So we are trying to encourage source segregation, and at the same time being able to reduce the amount of waste that end up on our dump sites. So why I raised up my hand was I wanted to have a better clarification on the EIA aspect, because for business like us, how do we come in terms of the EIA? Although I know there's a government regulation that says all businesses are supposed to do EIA through the Nigeria organization, the agency called Nigeria in Nigeria. But what are the metrics that we, for people like us now, should be looking out for, because we are already out there trying to reduce the amount of waste that is even generated at the source. Then at the end, we still segregate it further within our facility and help increase the recycling and helping the circular economy to grow. So I don't know if the question is clear enough.
So your question is, how are you supposed to measure your own impact?
Yes, yes.
Basically, I think the essence of this whole measuring your impact, you start with the goals. So you have like, okay, these are the goals we want to deliver on. This is what we want to do. Then when you're able to do them, that's like, basically, I'm talking about SMART goals. When you have like SMART goals, it's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's relevant, and then it's time bound. And when you're able to achieve that, somehow you can measure your impact. But if it's for the environmental assessment, you can go back to those tools and you could start with the simple ones like the checklist. So the checklist is just like that list that talks about, okay, what are we doing as a business? What are those basic practices? And so you could look at it. We're going to get to that at the end of this session, actually. So let me not get ahead of myself, and also that we don't waste too much time. We get to that part. It's the last session. Okay. Yeah, we are here actually. So now we will try to leverage sustainability for growth. And it's a workshop somehow. It's not going to be long. Maybe we just work with yeah. I think we work with you, Mohammed. And so basically, we're going to explore how your startup can leverage sustainability. At this point, you need your pen, you need some paper, or just get some writing materials. And then we are going to come up with like a task checklist. I already put it here. And then, so you make a table with 4 columns. So maybe you don't necessarily need to start with that. I'm going to tell you what to start with. Make a list of the expressions of your business. So for instance, Mohammed, okay, I'm going to give you an example so that everybody understands. So let's use the Nest as example. The Nest is an innovation hub. They have a physical space. That is first expression. They have a physical space. I know they have a website. They have social media channels. What else do they have? What else can you think of? I don't know if they sort of have a car or something. Okay, let's limit it to those 3. Those are like expressions. And then you can look into the building. What do they have in the building? How can they? You have those 3 expressions. Now, it's a bit tricky because it's, like I said, it's a workshop that I need to maybe write or something, but yeah, I'm going to try to make it work. Keep those 3 expressions in mind. They are like on the left. Now you'll try to consider them under those 3 strategies we mentioned. If you don't forget, those 3 strategies are pollution prevention, product stewardship, and sustainable development. So it's like the idea of the matrix. So you have those things at the top here. So for instance, we start with pollution prevention. So solution prevention versus the expressions. So you have pollution prevention versus the first thing, the physical building. So physical building. So that when you come to the 3rd point of my slide, so you have what can we do? How can we do it? What are the possible challenges? And when do we get it? I'm going to move to this first slide and you can see what I'm trying to talk about. So please pay attention to what you have in front of you. And you have X, Y, Z action plan. So let's say maybe the next action plan towards environmental sustainability. So possible areas of intervention. You have what, how, possible challenges, and when. So the first one the first strategy you are considering is pollution prevention. So, and then they have a physical space. We start with that. So in their physical space, they have some things. For instance, they have water. So you just look at the resources, all of your resources, raw materials, processes, and disposal, all your touch points. The craziness here is that it's different for all of the businesses. Now we're just focusing on innovation hub or the next. So you can try to adapt this into your own business. So I don't know, innovation, I mean, the next doesn't exactly bring in raw materials. For your own business, maybe you have raw materials. You want to consider the raw materials, where they are coming from, how they come in, what you do with them, and all of the other things that happen. So for physical space, they have water management. So, and something they can do is how? Now, appropriate use of the dual flush water systems. So maybe when you go to the restroom at the nest, usually the newer or the latest kind of water systems have two buttons. There is a big button and there is a small one. And when you do number one, that's when you just like pee, you should use the smaller one because when you flush, it doesn't give as much water as the bigger one. So that is an idea for water management. So you don't use a lot of water just to flush your pee. Compared to when you do number two, and then you press the bigger one, so you have a lot of water, or let's say enough water to flush what you have in there. So is that understandable a bit? I just need maybe one person to respond to that. Do you understand what I just explained?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Great.
It's a bit confusing though.
It's a bit confusing. Okay, let me finish with physical space, then I'm going to recap, or you ask me what exactly is confusing. So under their physical space, they also use energy, right? So they use water, then they use energy. So water management, number one, energy management, number two. So for energy, they use energy for their computers, for the bulb, for lighting, for their air conditioners, for all kinds of things. So what they could do for energy management is to turn off switches when not in use. So you are not using the bulb at the moment, you turn it off. It means they could just like put stickers on their bulbs. Okay, turn me off when I'm not in use somehow. That's actually called communicating something to people in the space. So when you're not when you're not charging your laptop also, just remove it from the wall or don't overcharge your laptop. These are things the nurse can put in their physical space, towards this. What other part of energy management again can we talk about? So there is the idea of motion sensing lights. So they're just there. So if you have to get close enough or use that place for the light to come on, if nobody walks past that place, the light is just going to be off. So it means you're trying to manage the energy in that space. And sort of this goes back to the environment because you're not wasting. That's pollution prevention, the idea of reuse, reduce, and recycle. So you could think through this. So we could actually talk more about water management. So under water management, it could also be like, they have water dispensers, and some people they just come with like their water bottle that are as big as like a whole tank, and just take all the water. Like, hey, please calm down. Come, come with water from your house and only come here to refill it. Something like that could be instance of managing water. So yeah, but it, it needs a lot of attention and a lot of work that you sit with it and you analyze it one after the other. So you come up with this very long action plan for yourself. So we could also talk more on energy management. It's just beyond switches. Everything that has to do with energy in that space. You are thinking through the process, like the whole life cycle of your business, starting from bringing in raw materials to processing it to disposing it. You think through on all the processes. So it's usually a very complex document and it's not something you do like maybe one time. You start with the things that are very easy for you to do right now that are achievable. Let's start with that. So for instance, for maybe the next, this is easy to do. Okay, we want to do something about water management. The first thing we can start with is that people use the flushing system properly. So it's not like you do number 2 or let's say number 1 and then you're pressing the big button, like you waste a lot of water for nothing. And then, okay, what can we do now about energy management? Yeah, we can turn off switches when they are not in use. That's the simplest thing. So for instance, installing motion sensing lights can be like, okay, we need to spend some money. But then think about it, when you spend some money on that now, at the long run, you are saving money on buying electricity. And that's like maybe under the third strategy. So it doesn't go into this part. That's why it goes to, it's not number 1. It's probably going to appear in like number 3. So that is expensive. You need to spend money. But this number 1, it's not usually about spending money. It's usually about reducing, reusing, recycling. So water management will reduce water usage. Energy management will reduce energy usage. So think through your own business also. Okay, for instance, railboat, sales of solar materials. Obviously, I think you import your solar materials. If you import solar materials, what can you reduce? What can you reuse in the course of importing these things? Is it that instead of, oh yeah, we need 1 battery today, and then you send maybe your pickup truck to get the battery today, we need another one tomorrow. So, the first day the pickup has to go, to and fro. That's a carbon footprint on the environment. That's the exhaust. It does that the second day, and it's just 1 battery per day. How about we do 2 batteries per day? It means the vehicle doesn't have to go every day, it goes every other day. In some way, you've reduced your carbon footprint on the environment. You've cut your own logistics cost of the vehicle going twice and just going once. So that's energy management somehow. Water management for a farm could be that the same water we use to wash maybe rice, we also use it to wash beans before we dispose it. And when we want to dispose it, we don't just throw it away on the street or something. We use it to wet tomatoes. Somehow, you're just thinking through, what can we reuse? What can we reduce? What can we recycle? And that's all the idea of pollution prevention. It's about prevention and control. So, and you do this across all your elements of expression. Oh, we have a physical space. Then it can be nice that you walk through your physical space, you enter your office. What can we reuse? What can we reduce? What can we recycle? Yeah. And the next, they have a website. So maybe they do carbon audit of their website, just as you see, and they see, we are contributing so much emission to the environment. What can we do in our websites? What can we reduce on our website? Some websites just have so much information. You're like, you can't even find information you're looking for because there is so much. So you reduce it. If people want to read more, attach maybe a link to a document that they can, maybe download and read. Not like just dump everything and then somewhere that you see a lot of pictures or our gallery. Yeah, when we opened our first year anniversary, second year anniversary, when this person visited. Okay, calm down. What can we reuse? What can we reduce? What can we recycle? So then you go, that's website optimization. Then, yeah, basically it's just a lot of work. I can't do it for, obviously for everyone. I can just share the basic idea and then you can sit with your own business and just, list all the expressions. Okay, we have this, we have this, we have this, we have this, we have this. That is what you have. And then for some businesses, it's going to be, oh, we do this, we do this, we do this, we do this. So for the next now, I think this is the second edition of this program you are doing, and I don't know, it may be the first program that wasn't this particular session on environmental sustainability and business. But now it is here. This is part of product stewardship. Like, okay, from today, we are going to include environmental sustainability into our product. It's not like they are reducing or reusing or recycling something, but they have decided to go out of their way. maybe this cost them some money. You wouldn't know. I mean, at least Zoom, facilitation, all of that. They are spending it, but it is what for the environment, because what you know today is also going to help your own business, and then it's like a ripple effect, like a chain reaction. That is under number 2. So number 3, they could say, yes, we no longer want to do fossil fuel or generators. We just want to be green, and we're just going to do solar panels. Of course, it's expensive, but then it's for the future. So that is the idea, and really what I really wanted to share with all of us today is just this whole idea of sitting with your business, list out all the elements, look at the first strategy we talked about, pollution prevention, reuse, reduce, recycle. Walk through your processes from the input to the process to the disposal. You know, some businesses, they do the waste first, then they now try of how to reduce it or how to sort it. How about you think from the beginning, maybe you wouldn't even have the waste in the first place, right? So yeah, every single process, that's what you do. And then you do it over time. You might not be able to finish it once. Start with maybe just 2 goals. Give yourself when time frame. We're going to do it in April, and it's going to take us 1 month. We're going to do it in May, and it's going to take us 1 month. You know, you come up with it's going to give you like a SMART goal. It is specific. So water management, we are not just talking about water. What exactly in water management do you want to do? Okay, we want to start with our toilets. Yes, you people use the right button to flush the right thing. Don't just press anything. Some people don't know. They just press both. Just press one. Water should just has come out. You know? But yeah, you start with that maybe month 1. Month 2, what else we want to do about water management? You all that come with like tanks to get all the water, come with water from your home, please. It's also about communication. Send emails, put it on the group. For the environment, let's come with water from our homes. That means you're also encouraging them to, drink more water. It's also good for their own health. So month 3, what again do you want to do about water management as it concerns your own business? Some businesses are technical, like farming. There is so much I know about that. And I know there could be a lot you could do to manage that. Get online, get research papers, they help with all kinds of things. And there is so much I promise you can optimize. You can reduce the time, reduce, maybe you need to hire more people. That can be a different case. It's a whole lot you can do with this. Just the strategy we talked about, you just sit, analyze it to the last pin. To the last pin. You can optimize so much over the time. Bus stop stories. Can we have you,
Yeah.
please?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Very clear.
Okay, so my name is Frederick. I'm the founder of Bus Stop Story Hub, and we are the first we're a media agency, one of the first storytelling art agency in Nigeria. So basically, I want to know, can this be likened to CSR? Because you basically talking about environment. Can it be likened to CSR, considering the using this eco-friendly materials or considering an environment? Can it be likened to CSR?
In a way. But for CSRs are usually, obligations. Usually, like there are things you have to do. It's like it's corporate and all of that, but it ends with responsibility, Somehow that actually goes more under the impact assessment. So you want to assess your impact, and then you publish it. Yeah, this is how we affect the environment. This is how we do it, and all of that. But that's a different case to what we're talking about. This one is, in fact, you're trying to come up with an action plan. By the time you're done with this document, it means you have things to do. After you're done with all of these things and you put together a report, maybe for the government, when they come for you, like, oh yeah, so how's it been with your, impact assessment and all of that? Okay, we've done this in the last 3 months, and then we've been able to reduce our energy use from this kilowatt to this kilowatt. We've been able to save these, we've recycled this amount of plastic, then you can start talking about CSR. And it could be a thing of, oh yeah, it is not possible for us to reduce our emission because of the kind of work we do. But then we are planting trees, we are doing this, that's your, carbon offsetting somehow. You emit in one area, you go to another area to help. You just offset what you are bringing in. So eventually when you do your net carbon, calculation, it's almost like, okay, yeah, we're good. And that's what the likes of, Shell do. There is nothing they can do. They emit into an environment. Then they give students, scholarships for research and plant trees and help, somehow they just offset what their impact.
Okay, so I want to ask because my business, one of my business model, because outside being a media brand, I also do ad agency. And one of the pattern we've been able to do so far is we install QR codes in buses, and if you you might have seen maybe some BRT buses, we have QR codes with the approval of the parks and all that. We have a QR code installed there where you can definitely, it takes you straight to our website. And I've been outsourcing it for a while, and now I want to go back to take full ownership. I outsourced it to a couple of friends of mine. So now, how do I come in? How do I bring in or adopt this approach into my own kind of business? Because we have QR codes. We have some of our QR codes in Obalende. We have our QR codes in where people, once you scan the QR code, it's like you're moving with your advert, or you're moving with whatever thing you want to see. Once you scan the QR code, it takes you straight to our website where you can see lots of ads and all that, articles and all that. So how do I apply this now to my website? Since I don't have a physical space where I pay for, I literally work is
on your laptop.
mobile. Yeah.
Great. Okay, we can start with the easiest thing. You can first of all measure the carbon footprint of your website. With the website that I provided, just check it. So the carbon footprint, for you to have a website, it means you must have hosted it, right?
Yes.
Great. Some hosting companies are considered green because of how they've been able to provide you the hosting service. Some are not as green. Usually those green hosting services are more expensive. So if you choose to pay the fee to be with such agency, you are working your way towards being sustainable, even though it's costing you. That is product stewardship, And then, so that's one area. So I'm just trying to think of other ways. You could also put things on your website. So also, if you go to that website of carbon thingy, there is a way you can put a badge on your website that sort of tell other people how much your web page is emitting. And there also they could read about what it means. Maybe it's also new to you guys today, like, okay, oh wow, website emit carbon. Yes, they do. And then you can tell other people about it. And also because you will send a lot of emails and all of that, at the end of your mail where you have regards, maybe bus stop stories, founder. Under it, you could have like something for awareness for the environment. Maybe think twice before printing this email, or something about the environment. Or have you considered planting a tree, So these are ways. It doesn't have to be, because you don't have fiscal thingy, maybe your own approach wouldn't be reduce, reuse, or recycle. It could be product stewardship. It could be investment. That's the third approach. Okay, I'm not going to. Yeah.
Okay, so there's one thing I do. Why this product? Because the brand is actually called Bus Stop Story Hub. So why this particular product is called Bus Stop Stories? Basically, we actually document stories about that particular area. For example, Obalende has a story about Obalende. That's what we use to lure people to the website. For example, we have stories, how the history of Obalende and all that. So that is actually, we are actually educating people, and as well putting out adverts or content to their face.
Yeah.
On my website, if you go to, for example, we have pages for close to about currently we're working about 7 or 8 bus stops in Lagos currently, where we have historical stories which are actually vetted by the Oba or the local government chairman.
Mm-hmm.
So does that
It
also
works.
apply as a part of what you're saying right now?
Maybe what you are doing is more into social sustainability somehow. But in any case, I think the idea of what we are doing here is that whatever business you're into, whatever model you employ, you can find your way of incorporating the environment into it. I mean, a hospital doesn't necessarily have to do anything green, but they can incorporate green because, I mean, people come, you give them drugs, you give them injection. What is green about that? But you can be intentional about, okay, when you come into our space, please put paper here. Oh, please, when you're done with plastic, put it here. Because we send it to plastic recyclers and this one to paper recyclers. That is being green. But at the core model they use, there's nothing exactly green about it. So your business also does it necessarily not have to be green at the first appearance, but just incorporate green practices. Like I said, okay, you are sending an email to the Oba to vet your content, and at the end of it, Oba just says, green is the new cool. And then someone wants to know, I mean, maybe to be for a Gen Z to know green is the new cool. What does that even mean? And they want to, type it up somehow. So I hope you understand. So it's not really that, okay, your business has to be go green. It has to be communicate green. Just incorporate green into it. That's what we're talking about. And that's what this approach is for.
Thank you very much. I understand. Thank you very much.
All right. My pleasure. Do we have any more questions?
Hello, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
I can.
Okay, so I have a question. So I produce musical instruments and
You
the
produce.
yes, I make
What instrument, please?
guitars, violins. Oh,
You produce them.
yes.
I'm sorry, I'm just surprised. It's maybe I'm not supposed to be, but it's cool. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. All right, so we get our resources locally, and we also use old woods from churches, old benches, old time
Yeah.
we recycle them and we use them in production. So I
Mhm.
want to know, because we use woods, I want to know exactly, are we in any way green? Do we have green in our business? And yeah, I know we kind of have sustainability because we recycle woods, but then
Yeah.
I want to know,
That's green.
is it worth pushing? Because I really have issues with that. I was thinking, okay, is that enough thing to say? Okay, we are also sustainable and eco-friendly, because in my own term and what we are pushing up now is to get machines. We have some CNC machines that cut and produces these things automatically
Mhm.
without us having to make noise and do stuff like that. So
Yeah.
those are the things we are pushing for. But I want to know, do we think we are sustainable enough? Do you think we are eco-friendly enough? Do you think it's something like that? Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, like I said, you do not have to be green at the first appearance. A green business would be one that says we research and manufacture batteries somehow. But the crazy thing about that is you sort of use more energy when you produce batteries. For batteries over the time, do not emit as maybe fossil cars or something, though that's the idea of, electric cars versus, when you say, okay, yeah, Tesla, yeah, we're a green company because we make electric cars. But man, you use more energy in producing those things than producing fossil fuel cars. But over the years, fossil fuel cars emit more thing into the environment, more pollution than. So I mean, it's a battle of story, it's my story versus your story. So if you're thinking from the angle of, oh yeah, so there is this fund that is open for green businesses, I don't know if we should apply. Well, it's your story versus all other stories. So if you can make a case for your business being green, by all means, go ahead. But if say at the first appearance, your business green, I wouldn't say yes. But do you incorporate green practices? Yes, that is the case. So like I answered the founder of Bus Stop Stories, whatever business you do, no matter how dirty it appears first, you can incorporate green. I think that is the narrative you are trying to push everywhere. Even if you don't have a business, I'm just living in my house, I can incorporate green. Every single person, a school child, the teacher, the CEO, everybody should be green conscious. That is the narrative we are trying to push. So it doesn't have to be green at first. I can't say, oh, I'm living in a greenhouse, but I can incorporate green into my house. And actually, I can choose to live in a greenhouse. So maybe my house is not made of bricks, it's made of something else. There is the sustainable architecture and all of that, handling that part. But yeah, maybe not green in first an appearance, but you can definitely incorporate green. If you think you've incorporated so much greenness that you want to, parade yourself as being green, it's okay. I would say. I mean,
Okay, so how about the eco-friendliness and sustainability?
of course, they're eco-friendly. You
Okay.
can push a narrative of eco-friendly. Maybe also what you're talking about is the idea of, oh, there's this thing about, greenwashing everywhere. Just see about eco-friendly, and you look at them. Are you truly eco-friendly? This doesn't look so. But yeah, if it's wood and you're trying to use, I mean, maybe it's also a thing of what is mainstream. If everybody uses machine or a particular machine that does something in one way, and you choose to go another way that doesn't impact the environment as much as what the mainstream is, then you can say you're eco-friendly.
Okay, sir, I get that, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'll get to the conclusion of this session. Incorporating environmental sustainability in your business model can significantly help reduce costs. I think we've been able to establish that. We got some stories from some of you telling us how they've been able to reduce costs in their production process. It helps you develop competitive advantages. And I think this is something we could also explore more. Yeah, I just like mentioned, maybe applying for opportunities that for grants, for funds, and all of those things. I mean, it's important that you even know what you're doing and you know how to communicate what you are doing. And that helps you, to maybe have access to grants or funds. So, and lastly, it positions you for the future. It's inevitable. It seems slow in Nigeria, uh, but it's definitely going to come. We're going to get it right at some point, and then things will work as they should somehow. That's what I believe and what I see. And yeah, so now it's almost like that thing is a lie. It doesn't work. It works, and I've seen a couple of instances for myself, working with small businesses, and we moved their expenses monthly from like here to like half, and they're like, wow. And maybe you even like have like 4 employees, and after working with you on how you can optimize your process, you're like, why do I have 4 employees? I remember my first work of working with an innovation hub. We were like maybe 3 or thereabout working on a particular project from start to finish. I took over the project. I mean, I joined the company, took over the project, and looked at it like, we could actually do this instead of this. There are programs that could do this without anybody touching it. Yeah, I was handling the whole thing at the end of the day. I mean, they didn't have to fire the other 2 people. They just, started other projects for the company. It means the company could make more money by completing more projects, in a shorter time. And the employee was sort of also like better, putting yourself to better things than just what a machine could do, like just filling forms and something. So yeah, in any way, you sort of have these three advantages when you consider being green. Yeah, if you have maybe particular questions about, you can work on what we talked about, your action plan, and if you would like to maybe talk more about it, you can reach out to Adebola. Only after if you've worked on this. If you do not, then no. But if you do and you like to maybe talk about it, reach out to Adebola. She can reach out to me, share the document with me. I can go through it. I can share my thoughts and see how it would, work for you and for your business. Yeah. So, more questions, more questions, more questions. Adebola, how much time do I have left?
So I think we're already used up our time, but you can take questions if there are questions.
Thank you very much. Do we have any more questions?
Also, I can see in the chat box, the businesses are telling us how much their website is taking in the space.
Interesting. Okay. So, flowdocs.com, the website page achieves a carbon rating of B. This is cleaner than 74%. Very well. Well done. Way to go. Yeah. So I think on our website also there is a part where you can read about sustainable websites, and it could also help you to know what you could also do differently and better about your website to achieve even better carbon ratings. And for you that maybe you put in for grants and funds, it can be a thing you add to your application, like, yeah, our website is green and all of that. Mine uses 0.38 gram of CO2. I can't really relate to that. So you can sort of compare it to maybe making a cup of coffee and all of the other relativity phrases that are there.
Hi, Bawale. Can you please share the websites for us to check again?
Okay. This is it. First up, story is up. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Sorry. So does it apply to our website, right?
To all websites, maybe not to very crazily big websites, but to most websites, yes. I mean, you wouldn't put in google.com, it wouldn't tell you anything.
Okay, I'm actually integrating to a new website now. I had issues with my .com because it was actually outsourced. So I'm integrating to .ng right now. So that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, it works for any website. A plus. Robot. Well done. Yeah, thank you very much, Lodox. Thank you, Kudura Innovations. Yeah. So this is like the reference list and everything, so you can read more on the presentation or a particular idea. If you're very interested in the strategies, I also like added I cited the references, so you can like check them up, pick up the papers and just like, read them. They are very, very interesting and they could really help you a lot on understanding, okay, what and how could we go about all of this. Trust me, it is more than just trying to be environmentally sustainable. It's you cutting costs, it's you being competitive, it's you positioning yourself for the future. It is going to come. In fact, it is here. I mean, that's why we're all talking about this. Nobody will be having a session on environmental sustainability like 5, 10 years ago. So, all right. From me to you, I think that is it. And we come to the end of the session. Thank you very
All
much.
right. Thank you very much, Adibawale. And to every other person on the call, thank you very much for joining us. I'm sure we are now more educated on how our business and services affect the environment and how we can always do better. How we is not just sustain the environment, but how you can also cut costs, how you can become better in your society, and how we directly or indirectly affect the environment. Thank you for that wonderful session, Adibawale, and we really, really enjoyed it. So I will be sharing the slides later, probably before the end of today or tomorrow, as soon as I get it. And I'll also be sharing the recordings of the session for those that were having internet issues, so we can also listen again. I have shared the link to the attendance in the chat box. Please ensure you fill the form. But if for any reason you're unable to fill the form, probably because of a network or something, please send me a message on WhatsApp. And with this, I think we have come to the end. Adibawale, we have messages for you in the chat box. Air by 5 says, you got her thinking. Thank you so much. And she'll definitely work on what has been shared. Products also said, he sincerely appreciate the facilitator for an insightful and impactful session. He said your expertise and engaging approach provide valuable knowledge that will help them implement sustainable best practices in their business. Wow, thank you very much for this feedback, everybody. We really appreciate.
Thank you
And with
very
that,
much, guys.
we have come to the end of today's session. We'll have our next session on Friday, and I will share the information on the WhatsApp group.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, sir, for the session. I enjoyed the class.
My pleasure.